Okay, before we start, we need to preface this with, you know, if we're trying to quote unquote fix a game, we have to remember. Should we put a comment there that we're still trying to play DBFZ? This means that saying things like let everyone jump cancel on block like Guilty Gear, like something like that, like just play Guilty Gear at that point. You know what I mean? So here are the main things we need to address. So the main issues, I guess, main issues, if you want to call them that. A lot of characters don't have solo mix. And they did try to fix this. So I guess we can talk about this first point by point. So go into the game. We'll use SSJ as an example. Alright, so let's just assume Goku is by himself, right? How does Goku try to open you up? Well, he can do like the universal stuff, which is like ID over you and push a button, but players have proven that they can block that pretty reliably all the time. He can try to delay his block strings with his awful low, but someone just blocking, they're gonna block that, right? You can try to Dragon Rush them, but if someone can react, then they can punish that too. There's so many options in this game you have to mess with. So this is 24 frames, which means the majority of the world can react to this. If you cannot react to this, you should play Street Fighter V or something, I don't know, or an NRS game. They can tech Dragon Rush because they're Goichi, which just assume everyone's Goichi or Sonic or something, right? Or Wawa. So they can block that. And then he has another overhead. This is 24, 25 frames. Same as 6M. A little harder to block than 6M because you don't see it as... because like, he doesn't hop in the air. So how does a character open you up when he's like this, right? So their solution... give everyone jab to Dragon Rush. So... this is supposed to give characters the ability to, I guess, quote-unquote, mix you as like an extra option. So they do that. But we all, after getting experience against this, like this is probably one of the easiest Dragon Rush to text in the game. Like trying to tech this is harder than trying to tech this. It is. However, there is something pretty cool about the jab to Dragon Rush. I don't know what they did, but... I'm not even going to try to explain it, but long story short, the next thing you do, you can Kara cancel it. So if you don't know what a Kara cancel is, this is a Dragon Rush, and this is me canceling the startup of my Ki Blast into Dragon Rush. So if you look at his hands, you'll see him like start the Ki Blast, and then cancel it, right? You do this by just plinking a button into Dragon Rush, right? And you could do this after jab. So jab into the following button. That button, you can actually Kara cancel it into Dragon Rush. So you could do... yeah, you saw it there? I'll try it again. So this is what they implemented into the game to give us the ability to mess with people, to open somebody up. So with some characters, it's way crazier than others. Goku can do stuff like this. And then he can Kara cancel the 2M. And then he kind of like bugs out before the Dragon Rush. That is there specifically to mess with people. So after jab, you can Kara cancel the following button into DR. But it also means that you can Kara cancel the following button to a special. This one's kind of hard, but I'm going to try to perform it. I legit have a lot of trouble doing this. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, so you can see it with the Ki Blast, which is really useful. So this is what they implemented into the game to try to get you to mess with people, to open them up. Because otherwise you just straight up can't do it. Yeah, see? So he looked like he was gonna go low and then he went overhead. It's really cool, actually. I think that there's someone on the team who has to know the strength of this. Because they are so afraid of giving characters solo mix, but they are so open to giving characters things to mess with the opponent, to open them up even without mix, that I do think it's intentional, that this is what they wanted people to do. But I'm giving them a lot of credit. A lot of credit. If this doesn't end up working in an offline setting, honestly, you can give people like unreactable moves, but they get low reward off of it. So for example, that does 26%, but that's all you can get, right? I think the only exception, so most characters off of their like light specials into super usually get like 26. The only exception is like Broly, who just gets 29. By the way, if they wanted to reduce that a little bit, then that would be fine. It's not a big deal. This is 33. But that is enough damage to dissuade the opponent from wanting to take hits, because this into this, that's almost half your health. That's 40%. So they could make a lot of those unreactable, but then what do you do with somebody like Ginyu who doesn't have something like that, right? Or Teen Gohan doesn't have something like that. So what do you do for those characters? Let characters create their own plus frames more. So I think UI Goku is a good example of this. So that's +3. He can create his own plus frames, which means unless you are willing to challenge, he can continuously continue his pressure. So actually, let me switch characters real quick. I think I can show this better with Bardock. That is the most annoying thing about UI. Yes, but it's also really important that he has it. So let's talk about it a little bit more. So actually, since Bardock is on the screen, we can go over the next 2 points right away. So one is let characters create their own plus frames more. Whether or not this costs meter. If it costs meter, that's fine. So like characters like Cooler spend meter, 21 spends meter to create their own plus frames. For example, Gotenks, yes. So if it costs meter, that's fine. So Gotenks, 21, Beerus. Who was the other character I say? Kefla, Lefla, yeah. So characters like this spend bar to create their own plus frames, and they get to stay in. So this kind of forces people to maybe want to play the take a turn or reflect mind game. Cooler as well, yes, thank you. I forgot to say Cooler. So this is really important, but the next thing that you need on top of this for this to properly work, because you can create your own plus frames all day, right? But if it doesn't do any damage, right? So let me switch UI for Kefla. Okay, so we got Kefla. Let's switch to health, no recovery, right? So that's +4, and the chip damage on this is so minimal. It's to the point where you could just keep taking that. You don't even have to think about it, right? So that's not damage I'm afraid to lose. So even though characters can create their own plus frames, people can just block. You know, this makes me really sad. So what you also need to do is introduce more chip damage. So I think Bardock is a good example of this, because he can do this meterlessly. So this costs no bar, and it does a decent amount of chip. Android 18 has a move that does this amount of chip as well, but he has a move that both creates plus frames and does chip and takes no meter. So what I would do is I would give characters higher chip damage output if they spend resources to do, well, to create their own plus frames. because it means that eventually, if you keep chipping them and you hit them, they're gonna die. You know, you might have trouble opening them up. They can keep blocking, but now it becomes a, oh my god, I can't take a hit. I'll die if I get hit. Where in the current version of the game, they'll create their own plus flames, they block, and you hit them and then they just spark and they won't die. So this will make it so that it's too scary to only block. You can't only block to win. They'll just keep creating their own plus frames, and they'll eventually put you at a point where if you take like a random 6M, a super dash plus assist, like something like that, and you get opened up once, you'll lose too much damage, right? Darken says this will make the game so RPS. So I think one of the issues with the game right now is not so much that it's too much RPS or that this will add more RPS. The RPS on Oki, I wouldn't call it RPS because you're not playing rock, paper, scissors. You are kind of like trying to hit a pinata with a blindfold on. That would be more accurate. You don't want a situation when someone just holds down back the whole time, right? You want people to play the reflect, mash, guard cancel game. That's the part of the game that makes Dragon Ball Dragon Ball. Let's take Vegeta for example, right? One of Vegito's main issues is that he can like block string you to death. You do stuff like that, but this doesn't do anywhere near enough chip damage for you to go, damn, I'm scared. He would have to do this for an absurd amount of time. If you have a character lead, they legit cannot chip you out enough to make you scared in time to win the game. It is absurd. And then they have to bank this, because you can't do this into the sword. So if you do this and they super dash, you gotta like do that and hope. This doesn't do like any chip. And then this falls in line with the game. Like he's minus, he could do the backdash mind game here. But all those mind games, you don't have to play. Even with Bardock, the character who probably does this the best, you pretty much don't have to play it. But at least he could do it resourcelessly, right? I think that would be good for the game. You don't have to make it absurd. You just have to make it enough. So it has to be enough chip damage to eventually make the opponent want to interact. And this is assuming worst case scenario, by the way. But we've seen that worst case scenario exists because if you watch Goichi's practice matches, he does this. He will give up games or spend entire games in casuals just blocking a solo Bardock, and the solo Bardock can never open him up. But at the very least, the Bardock can create his own plus frames and do chip damage. I don't know, down back is too strong. But yeah, that's it. I've thought this for a while, but I don't know if people will agree or not, so